Hi guys, here's E. Sadly, this summer is almost over, but with this cheese cream cake, you will be able to capture a little bit of the summer spirit on your dining table. This is neither your New York nor German traditional cheesecake, but I'm sure you won't be disappointed. For the short crust, we will need 200 grams of regular flour. Make a small well in the middle, then add 60 grams of icing sugar. Form a well again at the same spot. Crack one whole egg into the well. Add 120 grams of chopped cold butter on top. Use the dough cutter to scrape the flour from the side to the middle and break the cold butter further. Sprinkle a pinch of salt. Keep mixing the dough until the flour and butter are incorporated. Then use our hands to form the dough into a bowl shape. Wrap the dough with a piece of plastic foil and chill it in the fridge for at least 30 minutes until it's hot enough to roll. 30 minutes later, transfer it onto a piece of baking paper. Roll the dough flat with a roller and fold it for a couple of times to knead the dough evenly. We can repeat the process for a few times. Then separate the dough in half. Flatten half of the dough to about 26 centimeters diameters large. Use our baking form to cut out the perfect round shape. Use the dough cutter to remove the excessive parts. Then transfer it onto a baking tray and bake it in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for about 10 to 12 minutes until the short crust is golden yellow. Meanwhile, we can roll the second half of the dough to the same shape. It's much easier to roll when the dough is slightly softened but still hard. You can dust your roller with a bit of flour to prevent it from sticking. Once the first short crust is done, we can take it out and bake the second one on the middle rack as well. While the short crust is still warm, cut it into 12 to 16 equal pieces with the cake cutter. Be aware though, the short crust can crack when you cut it when it's already cold. Now let's prepare our apricot filling. We will need 750 grams of ripe apricots. Peel the skin by pouring some hot water to cover all the fruits. Then let them cool until they are cold enough to handle. I like to use a knife to make a small cut first, then the rest of the skin can be easily removed. We can use the same method to remove the skin of tomatoes and pears. Cut all our apricots in half and remove the cores gently. They have a beautiful golden color. Pour 250 ml of a dry white wine into a pot. Add 150 grams of sugar. Simmer it on low heat for a couple of minutes until the sugar is completely dissolved. Add our peeled apricots into the same pot. Turn the heat to medium-high and bring it to boil. All the apricots need to be covered in wine. Once it starts boiling, we can turn off the heat, set them aside and let them cool. To make the cream, we will need 7 sheets of gelatin. Here I'm using the color white. Soften them in some cold water, then heat up 200 ml of milk, 125 grams of sugar, and half tablespoon of lemon zest. Once the milk is warm but not boiling, mix about 3 tablespoons of warm milk with 4 egg yolks. Break the yolks and stir them vigorously until the mixture is smooth. Then pour it back into the pot with the rest of the milk. Simmer the mixture on low heat and keep stirring it until it turns thicker. We are almost like making a pudding here. Once the egg mixture is thickened with some bubbles, turn off the heat and add our softened gelatin when the mixture is still warm. Sift it through a strainer to remove any lumps, then let it cool completely. Pour our cooled pudding into a large mixing bowl. Add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. You can also press your own fresh ones here. 500 grams of quark. It's a German cheese but has the texture and taste of yogurt. You can replace it with mascarpone here if it's not available to you. Mix them together with a spatula, then beat 500 grams of whipped cream until stiff. We can start with a low speed, then crank it up to high until the cream gets a hot peak. Make sure our cheese mixture is completely cooled before mixing, otherwise the cream will melt. Once the cream filling is incorporated, we can then finally assemble our cheesecake together. Take the complete short crust and remove it gently from the baking paper. Place it on the bottom of the baking form. Make sure your form is sealable so the cream filling is not running out while sitting in the fridge. Pour half of the cream filling onto the short crust. Spread it evenly with a spatula, then place our apricots on top. Make sure to drain out the wine completely. The fluid can make the cream mushy and hard to set later. Leave a bit of space on the edges, then pour the rest of the cream filling on top. Even out the top surface with the backside of a dough cutter. Then we can leave the cake in the fridge for at least 4 hours and preferably overnight. To remove the baking form, I like to lose the top edges with a small knife first. But it shouldn't be a problem if the cake is set properly. Remove the baking form carefully, then we can place the top short crust one by one. It's also a guideline here when you are cutting it later. I've filled the crumbles from the short crust onto the middle point, so the cake doesn't look bold. At the end, we can sprinkle some icing sugar on top before serving. It makes all desserts magical. I should probably have used a larger knife when cutting the cake. Because I added so many apricots in the middle, it can be difficult to cut. However, they taste so amazing. It's surprisingly refreshing with a hint of the dry white wine. The sour taste from quark balances perfectly with the sweetness. Enjoy! Did you subscribe yet? If not, click here, click here, click here. Every day watch new videos at 6 p.m. Here are my 2 recommended videos. Thanks for watching. See ya! 谢谢大家。